So usually during an annual meeting, you will have questions and answers, and the answers will be done by the leadership team, either probably me or the rabbi or Dave. Um, Being where we are now and who is here now, we're going to do Q&A a little differently this year. So keep your yellow cards with you and your pen. Write down any questions that you have. You get as many as you want, which is unlike when you raise your hand, right? We have a time limit. No time limit. Write as many questions as you want. And then when you leave us this evening, there is a box on that table in between the door and the bookshelf. If you would drop your card with your questions in that box, I'll tell you what's going to happen to them. You can put your name on it or not. That's up to you. But in the next few days, the three of us will go through the cards and the questions, get rid of the duplicates, although I can't imagine two of you asking the exact same question. But we will get rid of the duplicates, and then we will be sending out an email sometime, probably maybe before the 4th, but if not right after the 4th, that will have your questions and your answers, and then we're going to post them on the website also. So your questions will be answered to the best of our ability, but it won't be here today. So anything about B'nai, you can ask. It's, whether it's about the construction or whether it's about services or about the future or something that happened that you want to bring to our attention. These yellow sheets are your funnel to us. So go ahead and use it and put it in the box on your way back.
Bob, you're on. For this
Right,
part. Okay.
correct.
All right.
Okay, so I am speaking on behalf of Dave. Let's see, is this thing? There we go. He asked me to say a few words in his absence um, about Laura after her full year here. And so I have worked with Laura at least on a weekly basis, generally more than that. Linda and I have been deeply engaged with this beautiful person. We are so fortunate to have her. She is extremely efficient. She is a very effective prioritizer and has no problem saying no if something more important has to be done first. She is a good communicator. She is direct and to the point, and there is very little guessing when she is in the presence. She is extremely competent. She's better than advertised on finances and getting better. And, all that's kind of the yada, 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 the things you would expect from a first rate administrator and a business person who is very competent. But where Laura is over the moon is she's what I kind of called when I was in management a team player and a team vision. She brings to the front office she brings it into kind of a resonance, a beautiful resonance where everyone is just kind of working together and it just kind of humming along. And by far, her best move, I want to say this, her best move was bringing Hannah on board. And it wasn't just bringing her on board, it was figuring out that she wanted her full time, and then she figured out how to make it happen. And that's what you need from someone who is very competent. So thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And thank you, Dave. Um, In the course of attending many B'nai services and programs, I have participated in more than one meditation with you all. Now is my turn to guide you. So I offer this one. You can close your eyes if you like. It's not necessary. Think about the last 12 months since last June. A year ago, what plans did you have for your body? Did you plan a healthier diet, more exercise, staying on medications even though they cause you discomfort? And how did your plan work for you? What did you plan with your money? With the craziness of the economy, everything going up and down, did you get to save? Were you able to purchase what you wanted? Did you give to the charities that you wanted to? How did that plan work for you? And what about your spare time? How did you plan your spare time? Did you have a bucket list to conquer? Did you have a list of tasks for other people that you wanted to get done? How did that plan work for you? And what did you plan for your Benet journey last year? Did you even have one? What stops along your life journey last year did you spend with this community, either here or at Highlands? How did that plan work for you? You can go ahead and open your eyes. I cannot offer you any advice on health. We have plenty that can do that. I cannot offer you any advice on your finances or your time management, but I am thrilled to be your traveling partner on your Benet journey. Last year, I shared with you that beginning January 1, 2024, I would commit to 100 cups of coffee with 100 members of the community. I'm over halfway there at 62, I think, or 63. And although very caffeinated, I am also awed by the intelligence, the passion, the humor, the dedication of the people that I've met during these coffee dates. If you have not signed up, help me reach my goal. Go online and sign up to have coffee with me. It's on Benet, I promise. I'd love to sit with you, all 100 members of the community that I can, and maybe beyond that. But I want to hear your Benet journey. I appreciate how this congregation has welcomed me. And I remember standing here a year ago, quoting the Grateful Dead, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, telling you how I have really, with this community, found my people. And a year later, I'm here to tell you that I was right. Thank you all very much.
So as Laura, you are a treasure. We are so lucky. And we're so lucky also for the treasure of Hannah. And it's just been such a blessing to have an incredible team and to have all the full-time folks and all the part-time folks. We have Tammy and Donna and Debbie up until recently and all of us and Hal, just an incredible team. So I'm going to invite now Lori and Hannah to come forward and talk to us a little bit about membership growth and what's happening with youth and families.
How does this? Not like that. Thanks. Of course, Hannah's taller than I am, I imagine. You're taller than I am, aren't you? Yeah. You want to come up? You want me to? Okay. Oh, the slides. Yeah, we did have some slides. I don't know. Okay. Can you guys hear me? I hate this, the mic thing, I mean. Okay. Well, I'm Lori Cohn, and I'm co-chair of the membership committee. Over this last year, it was with Debbie Goodman. And this coming year will be Juliet Clear Lockman. Really looking forward to that. Juliet Lockman. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to share with you some membership number trends over the last couple years, just very briefly. These numbers aren't perfect because over the last year, there's been changes in the way we did reports, software issues, records being done different ways. So these numbers are not exactly 100%. But what is really, really clear is that Benet is growing and growing really steadily, and it's really very cool. Yes, yes. Just 24 households have joined us since June 23. That's 1 year. That's like 2 a month, I think. This is also including people who are returning after an absence and those who are joining us for the first time. And then if you add to that, if you go back to High Holy Days 2022, you can add 16 more households. So we have a total of at least 40 households that have joined Benet since September 2022. That's a lot of people. And I don't have the exact number for the total membership number because of adult kids and little kids, and we don't have exact numbers, but we know it's at least 57, which is why there's more people around with everything that we do. Another thing that's exciting about it to me is that many of these members are already really active in our community, and I'm sure you've seen them at different events and services. Some of them even came to our retreat and they just joined recently. And we are now up to altogether, oh, sorry, I jumped here a little bit. We are now up to about 190. I forgot that, 190 member households. So we're in great shape, and we're just really thankful for everybody who's been joining and coming back. Part of what happened, I'm sure you remember COVID. In fact, I guess some people still have COVID. Yes, it really hit us hard, and it hit, a lot of religious organizations and just organizations in general. It's been a challenge to get back on track, but we've all really been working hard to help Benet become a more open and outgoing congregation where members can make connections with each other through various means. We have different activities now. We have interest groups. We have Shabbat B'Bayit. We ask the board members to try to contact new members. We have people greeting. We're just trying to make it a more outgoing, warm place. And now I'm going to gush for a minute because I think it's deserved and it's honest. We have a rabbi who is very dynamic, intelligent, authentic. I think that Rabbi Katie is definitely people like your services and what you say. We've had a very effective board over the last 2 years with Ben Honigman and then Dave Gordon now. And yes, and our staff, as we just heard about, is really helping out. We have wonderful volunteers. It's like there's renewed energy. Like if you can remember the energy from before COVID, it feels like over the last couple of years, we're like getting back up, getting back up there, and it's back. And so it's just what I wanted to share. And it's great to see you all. Thank you.
I have a visual aid. So that's what we're getting up here. Ooh. Can we get a ooh? Yay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yay. Full screen. Yay. Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm the Youth and Family Community Organizer, which is what that acronym means because you have to write the words a lot. And I'm also the office manager / administrator. So I'd like to say that encompasses the age range of anyone that's born up to anyone that's like 35, because they're still a young person at Benet. So that whole range of people we're still important. It's still important to me. Yeah, still important. Go to the next one. So there are some important things that I wanted to talk with you all about. First was just looking at the events and the layout of the events that have helped build the youth and family community here that you may have noticed. the biggest thing is Tot Shabbat. We do that monthly at B'nai West. It is the precursor to the Shabbat B'Yahad, the Shabbat with the family service. We have about 11 kids every month on average, and many amazing grandparents and parents that bring their kids. And it has just slowly grown and taken over the physical space of that little prayer room. Families really love to spread the word with one another, and I feel like it's a space that they've expressed. You are able to really come as you are, do what you can, and then if you want to leave your kids in childcare, I will make some sort of fun activity and do that with them, with the help of Eric Helmstetter, who is now moving to North Carolina, and now Yael, who's wonderful, who's going to be helping with that every month. Another thing is holiday programs. Obviously, we had a great Hanukkah party. We had about 25 kids at the Hanukkah party. Yeah, I counted. I used all my resources to figure out on the sign-in sheets. We had Tu B'Shvat, we had Purim, we had special things during the Shabbat B'Yahads for each of the holidays. Yeah, all of those had opportunities for new families and new people to come to B'nai and really feel welcomed. And then there's specialty events, which is things like the retreat, things like the Soferet weekend, and some of the things that I'm hoping to plan. I'm trying to figure out a mural project. That's what we're working on next week. I have a meeting with my friend who's a muralist. So hopefully those will all be opportunities for people to engage with Jewish community and for their kids and young people to engage, whether or not services is their thing. This is not amazing data. I did it on a Post-it note. I started here in October like 15th, 18th in range. All of the Tot Shabbats every month, I looked at how many people attended it. So there was 100% increase. So that means the amount of people doubled. There have been 20 youth and family focused events that encompasses things like there was sort of a kids situation while all of the adults were preparing for Purim. Counts things like that, the special events. And this number right here, I'm particularly happy about. There were 15 kids on the retreat from ages 1.5, so Hudson, to 13, so Adam, who was also helping, and I guess also Jeremy. A wide range of kids and young people, and opportunities for young people to come here. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of amazing growth and people finding opportunities to come and engage with B'nai. And yeah, I hope there will be more. I don't know if there's anything else, but yeah, thank you.
Hello. Lori, thank you for those kind words. I'm Ben Honigman, former chair of B'nai, longtime member. I'm here to talk about the buildings. I want you to close your eyes for just a minute because we're going to go through a meditation. I'm going to take you back to 2015 when we had listening sessions in our community about what the hell do we do with our building. And those listening sessions blossomed and mushroomed into the facility task force. It could be said that the facility task force is the longest running task force in the history of B'nai. I think we did probably set a record, but I do have thanks to give to all the chairs of the facility task force, stretching back to Dan Taubman, who's here. Howard Teschler was chair for a while. I was chair for a while. And the coup de grace, the final chair, and the one that brought us to our success was Alan Wallace. So a big thanks to Alan. Over from 2016, when the facility task force developed, to 2024, we had many, many meetings. We had many members. who participated. We had many church visits. And if we only got paid for the miles that we put on, it would have really benefited us. We also, in 2022, had a community meeting. Most of you, I think, were at that community meeting, and we made decisions on what to do with our building and how we would move that forward. I should also, just on reflection, I should thank Carla Schiacchi for introducing us to the pastors at Highlands, because that ultimately became the success story for us. So in the community meetings, we made some decisions. The community was not ready to go full bore and move over to another building that the community did not have ownership of. And I think those were the two, that was the dichotomy that was part of how we made decisions. We wanted to have some other building that was bigger than what we have here, but we also wanted to maintain ownership of this building. And we also wanted to we wanted to renovate this building when the time came in order to make it a little bit more presentable, a little bit more friendly, a little bit more welcoming. So I'm happy to report that last week we signed the lease with Highlands Church. So you didn't include that in your program successes for the. You should understand that this is a renter-landlord lease. It is not a partnership. We don't have ownership of the building. We pay for usage as we go. So, and it's a 3-year lease. We can get out of the lease at any time, and we can also make it our home on some levels. For example, Alan Wallace's mother, who recently passed away, donated a significant amount of money in order to build an ark that will be permanently situated at Highlands. In addition, there will be some cabinetry so we can keep prayer books there, and so we don't have to schlep them back and forth. We have decisions to make about signage. Highlands is open to that. And as you know, we have had many events there. In the last year, we've had 26 events, some of which have been mentioned already, holiday events as well as B'nai Mitzvahs. And Janet Sherman and Maggie Miller, are doing a kind of an analysis of whether we like being there, whether we like being here, and the board has access to that data to determine how we should proceed in an analytic way about whether we should continue with that partnership. Let's see. And then we have this building. And we have, the board has made a decision that we should renovate this building, which has really been in the works for thinking about the building for many years, but the board made the decision to move forward. So what I'd like to do now is invite Priscilla Press up to give you a little bit of an understanding of the vision and the goals of what we want to do with this renovation. Are you going to use it? Oh, you'll, here.
Thank you. Can we get rid of that?
It'll go.
It'll go, great. Oh, sorry. Let's see, how can I do? I'm gonna have to walk over there and show you some things, but can I take the mic? That would be great. Okay, hi, B'nai. I'm Priscilla Press, and I'm, great, oh, thank you. I'm a member of the building committee, and I'd like to tell you about the project for improvement here at Benet. As a result of about 6 months of work, we are very excited to be able to do some improvements that will make Benet East more welcoming and more pleasant. We were initially charged with making improvements in these following areas. Number one was air quality in the sanctuary. I think most of you knew that we had some leaks in the roof, which was then fixed, but it affected certainly the ceiling here and other things. So we hired Dust Mold, which did a brief inspection and suggested a company called We Inspect to evaluate the situation. Their recommendations were change the ceiling tiles and change the flooring to a hard surface. Then the next was acoustics in the sanctuary. The musicians have been complaining for probably as long as we've been here about the deadening effect of our situation here in this room. And so he hired a company called Wave Engineering, who suggested 3 types of acoustic tiling in the ceiling. This will be all removed. Hard surface floor and right angles in the ducts. Okay, then cosmetics. Originally, when we were told what to do, we were told cosmetic. A lot of these things are not exactly cosmetic. Sorry. A new flooring. I will need this. Yeah. Yeah. New flooring, ceiling tiles throughout the whole place. New lighting fixtures, clean, freshen up with painting, things like that. And it's not going to be majorly different, but some of the areas that will be different, I'm going to show you now. We are going to, as you come in the front door, this is Ohio Street. No, here it is. Here is the. Yeah, it just doesn't show. Oh, here's the door. It's very, okay. As you come in, you will have an open area here with a large sectional couch that has been donated. We are going to have no tables or anything in the hallway to the sanctuary because they're really dangerous. We are getting older and older. We have people with walkers and all kinds of things that we will not be signing in like we were today in that hallway. We are going to, so we're removing the library from this area. We're using this little, what is now the copy room. We're making it into a coat closet, which we will enter on this side to change the flow of, so this will not get clumped up. There's also, we may partially cut off this angle here to make this more open. We're breaking down a wall and making a library conference multipurpose room that will be, we will have our own table and chairs, the same furniture that we've had. Okay, so okay, so those were the main concerns, and we completed that, and that was the scope of our original project, was just refreshing, cosmetics, that kind of thing. We also thought we would put some bookcases here in the sanctuary to hold kiddushes and the Torah. Now, it turns out that the sink in the kitchen broke, and that created a problem. It was expensive to fix the kitchen sink, and we began to think about the future. And the fact that we may at some point want to remove this wall that's behind you on this side. But even before that, we would like to open up the dining room area and remove the kitchen from this wall to creating a more pleasant dining room that could have artwork in it and things like that, instead of looking at all these appliances. And so we found out that we could find an area in here, using also a closet that's over here, to put a new kitchen in. And anyway, yeah, I'm not supposed to take questions. So we're in the process of doing that. The appliances are actually not that expensive. We've been working with Laura and Hannah and getting feedback on what we can do there. It's not going to be a bigger kitchen. It's not going to be what Rabbi Katie would really like to have, to make lots of food for lots of people. It's going to be pretty much the same size as what we have now. We may be able to expand it a little more by putting some, cabinets here, a tabletop there, something like that, but it'll be here and there. No questions. That's a big question. But anyway, that's it. And that's really up to date on where we are.
So I'm sure there'll be some questions. There'll be some questions about the layout, about the purpose. Just to answer questions about funding. Funding comes from previously pledged dollars for building renovation. And there is more than enough to do what Priscilla has outlined. And so at this time, there was no plan to ask the community for additional funding for this project. There will be a need for community participation to help with certain logistical things. For example, taking the books out of the bookshelves and boxing them up so that we don't have to hire folks necessarily for that. Oh, we are? We are. Oh, new information. We're hiring folks. Oh, okay. Well, Dave told me that we might need other community participation for other parts of the project. So keep your ears open for that. The timeline is we need some permitting. There's some minor issues around the contractual issues with the developer, but we hope to start the project after the high holidays this year and have it finished after the first of the year. It should take about 8 to 10 weeks to accomplish all that Priscilla has outlined. I should also mention that in addition to Priscilla, one of the leading voices for this has been Howard Tischler, who has been the chair of the building committee. So, thank you.
We did hire an architect only to make drawings to receive permits from the city. So that's where we are. That is what we're waiting for at this moment. His drawings to go to Lou Fishman, who is our contractor and who will go to the city for the permits.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you, Priscilla. It's been such a joy to work with Priscilla and Howard and re-envision this room or this building. Okay, we've been sitting kind of a long time. If you are able, please stand up. The late Robert Carter once shared, without volunteers, we'd be a nation without a soul. The same applies to B'nai. Without volunteers, we would be empty. So let me show you how invested in our community that our volunteers are. If you ever served on a committee or on the board, take a seat. If you ever greeted at any of our services or sponsored a kiddish, then please take a seat. If you ever brought a potluck to a dish for us to share, please take a seat. Well, I had 4 more, but I guess I don't need them. But this guy, if you look around and you see that there's no one standing, you can see that without volunteers, B'nai is empty. We are soulless. And so this is the moment when I want to thank everyone who has brought a dish, served on a committee, greeted someone, come in and stuffed envelopes there. I mean, helped us get ready for the retreat. At the retreat, schleppers. We had schleppers, we had shoppers, we had everybody. So I just want to thank you and to let you know that the committees, and I know that in the past, the committees have come up and shared what they've been doing and kind of given you an up-to-date report. In the respect of time, we're going to go ahead and put all of that on the website too. You guys are going to have to read the website to get that information. So our committee chairs, of course, have been responsive and wonderful like they always are. And we will be posting that on the website, and we'll let you know when that goes up so that you can volunteer for more things, because we need you more. You need you more. I mean, we are the community that we need, right? So I am just so impressed with all of you. When I interviewed for the job, they told me there's going to be a lot of volunteers, and I'm going, yeah. But I was wrong. You guys are awesome, and I want to thank you. And speaking of gratitude, when I started at B'nai a year ago, there was so much that I didn't, but I knew that there was a staff member who spoke my program directing language. Debbie Goodman knew just how to plug me into the who I should call for what, to tap into the many volunteers that I just talked about. Debbie has brought the gift of the Grindberg Family Fund sponsoring the Year of Learning to all of us. She has organized, are you ready? Online events that brought Jewish wisdom and spirituality into our computers when we were home with COVID. Brought nationally known scholars and residents into our lives to allow us to learn topics such as The True Power of Stories by Norma Johnson, A Brief History of Israeli-Palestinian conflict with Rabbi Harris, The World of Yiddish with Dr. Cohen, Yiddish Songs of Love with our own Hal and Annie Aqua, a virtual theatrical performance about inclusivity. I'm sorry, I missed that. Cultivating Resilience Through Jewish Practice with Rabbi Waxman, multiple opportunities to learn about rising hate and anti-Semitism, crypto-Jews, and our relationships with each other. Just this year, she brought us Rabbi Richman, who taught us that women do scribe Torahs and then left us with the power to repair our own scrolls and take better care of them. She brought us a morning of embodied spiritual practice with our own Rabbi Katie and with Gail Gurowitz. Did I pronounce that correctly? Thank you. And of course, she was the driving organizer with the recent retreat that many of us enjoyed up in the mountains. Debbie has gathered a small advisory group a few times a year to group think with her, and her guidance has produced these quality programs. Debbie, I cannot understand why you feel like you need more time for you. Dan, before you sit, can you do me a huge favor and bring me the wrapped? Thank you. Debbie, can you come up? I give you a hug. So this is the time for Toda Rabah. Thank you very much for all that you brought to B'nai. And while we will miss your leadership in our programming calendar, we are thrilled that you will be staying with the B'nai community. We all look forward to seeing you at many, many B'nai events. And to help you with that, the congregation has purchased for you, specifically to keep you connected, a special calendar that has Jewish and English dates on them so you can mark all the times you're going to be coming to B'nai. Please join me in sharing our gratitude to Debbie.
I just want to say thank you. This is a wonderful community, and my family introduced me to this community a long time ago, and they all said wonderful things. And then when I came back to Denver and became involved in the community, I got it. And really, this is a very unique and special and warm and wonderful community. And it's been a real privilege to be able to work in the community and get to know many of you that I might not have had the opportunity to do. And I look forward to continuing in this really nice place, in this great community. So thank you very much.
Bob and Linda, are you ready to tell us about the money?
No, that's okay. We're gonna, yeah. You can do that. Can you guys hear me? The microphone's. No, Ah. Okay, I hope the Zoom people are happy. Yeah, go for it. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everyone that has worked on the Finance Committee, Ron and Linda and myself and Marilyn. We can always use a new volunteer, but anyway, we're up for that. Nothing showing. There we go. All right, you can full screen it. And go to, yeah. Go to screen number 2. There we are. We know this, right? Okay. It was a good year this past year for investments. We did recover ground from our 2022 losses in our investment accounts. And the total value of our liquid assets actually went up $25K in 2023. So that's good news. The growth in membership is visible. And by that, I mean the increase in pledged income, increase in expenses associated with programming. So that's, good news on both counts, I suppose. Next. So here is the important stuff, which is our cash balances on the balance sheet. And you can see that our liquid assets, and it does go through May of 2024 for comparison. The liquid assets has gone down a bit. Thank you, Vanna. What a team we are, right? What a team. Okay. Anyway, one of the things to note there is that our original financial plan called for taking out $50,000 in 2023 in order to balance the budget. We did not have to do that. Not at all. But we did have to take out $30,000 in March, I believe it was, because the cash balance was just getting a little bit too low for payroll. So we did that to bridge that. That was this year. But so far, we're holding good, and our restricted assets, which includes the Rose Fund and the capital campaign, are doing fine. We did take out some money of the capital campaign to pay for the roof, and we're going to be taking more out, as Priscilla has told us. Next slide. So here, this is one of the things that may solicit some questions. But on our ordinary income, and I ventured to try and define that as our operating and income expenses, and our guru Linda said that's good enough. But I also wanted to talk about other income, which is predominantly donations to restricted fund, but includes investment assets and a few other things that come in to make sense out of this. So we actually finished 2023 very much on budget in terms of our actual expenditures. And in the 2024 budget, we're actually coming down a little bit from what we thought were the actuals in 2023. Part of the reason for that is that we had some one-time expenses in 2023, associated with kind of the ramp up with the rabbi and with Laura. Anyway, our cash flow, though, is very good. Go ahead, next slide. And this is important to note, very important actually, because what this shows is that in our total budget, and the reason that we were only 15,000 in the red, which is something that I think is quite manageable, was because of the activity in our restricted funds, which does flow into our operating expenses and assets and makes it all sense. And let me give you, I don't know if Marilyn is out there or not. If you are, Marilyn, oh, there you are. You're not even out there, you're here. Wow. So Marilyn gave me this quote, and I think it's great. A healthy cash flow ensures that a business has enough liquid assets to meet its short-term obligations, such as payroll, rent, and vendor payments. The liquidity is essential for the day-to-day operations and overall solvency of Benet. Profits are book profits, in quotes, book profits, and are not the same as cash flow. So this is a real strength we have in our finances. And the rabbi is making every effort to ensure that it continues. And so Dave asked me to share some of my optimism. And I am extremely optimistic about Benet because, very simply, I'm a guy who follows trends. And all of our trends right now are up into that nirvana of the upper right-hand corner. You thought I was going to say more than that, didn't you? Anyway, the private joke. So we're going in the right direction. If everything plateaus right now, we're in trouble. But then you have to ask the question, why would it plateau right now? And it would take, actually something more severe than a pandemic, I think, to make that happen. Anyway, next slide. All right, enough philosophy. Here we go. Okay, in 2023, we began to rebuild membership and to continue to see strong growth into 2024. The 2023 annual Gifts of the Heart did meet the budget. It was a little bit funky because we got a big amount of money in December, which didn't contribute to the fiscal year, but it did meet it. And we have appreciated the much larger space and the availability of being able to do high holidays at Benet West. And it's anecdotal, but it seems to me it has really contributed to our increase in growth and finances. I just did that.
I want to say that right now, the annual Gifts of the Heart are doing well. We still think that there are members who don't realize that Gifts of the Heart translate to dues. And we don't have dues anymore. We have annual Gifts of the Heart. So I just wanted to be sure people were aware of that and made their pledges. And I know maybe what we presented might have been a little confusing, but we are doing well. When Bob says our cash flow is good, that means the money coming in, we are spending. We are not just hoarding or anything like that. We are using them for the purpose that they were meant. And we have enough money to pay our bills, even though we've had surprises in terms of toilets not working, sinks not working, floods in the storage room, things like that have been kind of surprise expenses. But even with that, we're doing fine. So I just wanted to say that.
All right. So, one of our most valuable assets at B'nai are our leaders. And we've been, I have to say, I mean, I have to say this the right way. One of the things that I've been so impressed about since I've started at B'nai is the quality of the leadership here among the lay leaders. You know, we have people on the board, people in committees, people on task forces, people in interest groups who just have incredible ability to run meetings and do research and get things done. And oh, this is that one, Mike. So not just like things like stuffing envelopes, although those things do make things hum along, but things like strategy and the really high level things, hiring staff. You know, people are contributing not just man hours, but really heart and soul and mind, and that leadership shows. And of course, one of the places where that shows up the most is on the board. So right now, we're going to give thanks for some of the board members who have served and who are rolling off the board. And then we will be welcoming some new members onto the board and shuffling around who's doing what. So let me get my box of gifts. Hold on. If you want it, Hannah, would you come and assist me by holding the box? Right. This is one of those things. Hannah is good at way more than just holding a box, but right now you can hold a box. Okay. So, not everybody I think that we're thanking is here in body, but I want to first just say thank you to Bill Goldberg. Yay. All right. You will get this later. Okay. And now these next two are rolling off the board. The next three are rolling off the board, but I have secured soft promises that they will not disappear and that they will continue to advise, to lend their leadership in various ways, right? Yes, 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 yes. All of them saying yes. Okay. Sharon Haber. Yeah, yeah. None of them are allowed to go anywhere far.
It's not a calendar.
It's not a calendar. Not, yeah.
I don't need that. I really want to thank I do. Oh God, I have such a loud voice. I really want to thank Ben Honigman. During my tenure, I cannot tell you how hard he worked and the difficulties that we had and really had overcome during that period of time. He was not just fun and great to work with, but he also taught me a great deal. So I just want to personally thank him.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Okay. Next, I want to say thank you to Bob Stevens. I know exactly where to go when I need a spreadsheet or just good advice. All right.
So I also want to thank Ben, but I actually want to start back and thank Ethan Waldman if he's out there in the ether sphere somewhere. And Ben and Dave and actually Alan, who is coming on board. So we have a lot of continuity that we haven't had in a while. And that's been a big factor. So, and you're right. I'm not going to go anywhere, but I got to tell you the truth. When you spend like 20 hours a week on Benet, you kind of get Jewed out. And and it's like, there's lots of interesting things to come to that I feel like now I can. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. That's very true.
Hi, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something about Bob because he and I work very closely together and we have weekly meetings and besides being on the executive committee and the board. And I could not do what I do without him. And Benet has been in such good hands with the way he can analyze our situation, create charts, spreadsheets, and make everything become clear. So I am so happy that he's going to stay on the finance committee. Yes, because he's very needed. And thank you, Bob, for everything.
Thank you, Linda. So Ben, you were one of the very first people that welcomed me into this whole experience that I'm having. Although I should give credit to my own parents who, joined Benet 30 years ago and through whom I actually first met Benet. But Ben, you brought me here. And I feel so thankful for you. And just so thankful that I had you to come to and to to take me through that year of transition and to set me up to know the community and to wrestle through a few tricky situations. And I am going to reluctantly say goodbye to you being on the board and the executive committee, but I am not going to say goodbye to you as an advisor and a confidant and a thought partner in leadership here. And thank you just for all that you've brought to me personally and to the community. All right. And I think there's also there's a gift that's just for you and there's a gift for Mary too, because, one of the things that happens when you're a leader in a community, rabbi or board chair or other strong leader, is that your whole family gets impacted. So that's for her as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all those kind words. I think to the list of chairs that Bob mentioned, I think we should add Dorothy and Ron, who went through the pre-COVID times and into COVID times. So thank you to both of you as well. We made a strategic decision 2 years ago, 3 years ago, actually, that no matter how much it cost, we were going to get the best rabbi in the United States. And I'm happy to say that we succeeded in that mission. So in addition to thanking me, I think we should thank Susan Spiro, who chaired that search committee, and Jeff Haber. So it was we were really in some dire straits for a period of time, but then we had then the clouds opened up and the sun shone. So it was a good 2 years. I'm pleased at the success of what has happened since then. I sort of liken it to the American Revolution. I took us through the war, but David is taking us into the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right. I just want to say thank you, Laura, for that message that I had a previous version of the agenda in front of me as I was doing this. So we will circle back in just a minute to an item that is very important. But first, let's continue with the board. I want to just draw your attention to the, I don't know, third page of your annual report, where we have the list of the new board slate for the coming year that has been approved by our voting process. As I understand, we did have a quorum of members participate in that. So I'm going to read through who is doing what, and then we'll hear a couple words from our incoming vice chair of the board, chair-elect. So first of all, I want to just say we are blessed to have many board members who are continuing. Lori Cohn, Debbie Gartenberg, Dan Prendergast, and Lori Tischler will all be continuing as board members at large. We have 2 new board members at large, Wendy Berger and Priscilla Press. So thank you, both of you. So excited to have you be in the official leadership circle, and looking forward to all of that. And in terms of our executive committee, we have Kate Tribbett continuing. She'll be Vice Chair of Family and Youth Engagement. Linda Tribet's Vice Chair of Finance. Mark Brown continuing as Secretary. Janet Sherman is going to step into the role of Vice Chair of Administration. Dave Gordon is going to continue as our board chair in his second year of his term. And Alan Lazaroff is our new chair-elect. I am so thrilled about that. So we have now created what you call in Jewish tradition a chazaka, which means if you do something 3 times, you kind of have to keep doing it. We now have our third board chair who is a physician. We'll see if we continue in that or not. But Alan, I am just so pleased. Come on up, and I'm going to give you the floor for a few minutes to say whatever you'd like to say.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So Anna and I have been members of B'nai for over 20 years, but Anna was always very involved, but not me. I went to Woodstock. I was in that generation of people. I grew up in a conservative / Orthodox community, but by the time I was a teenager, that no longer appealed to me. And although I was always felt deeply Jewish and deeply connected to Jewish heritage, I couldn't find any organized Jewish community that had any interest for me. So, and after a while I stopped looking. But my wife kept participating and so on, and I gradually got drawn in, first through our Havurah and through Books and Bagels and so on. And all of a sudden I discovered that right here, hiding in plain sight, is what I wish I had found many years before, this amazing organization. And so I migrate onto the board, and I saw that this is a community that's very important, that needs to thrive, that's important for us members, but even beyond that for the Jewish community, and even beyond the Jewish community, a place of inclusiveness, of tolerance, of dialogue, very, very important. So I'm a retired doctor, but my professional career, in addition to practicing for 35 years, I did a lot of organizational leadership work. I counted up 9 boards I've served on. And I started to wonder whether any of that experience might transfer into this kind of a situation. And I think it will. And I'm very committed to seeing that this community succeeds, not only for us, but for the next generations. And I'm going to do my damnedest. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, I am just feeling very blessed by all the leaders, and Alan, so glad that you're going to be stepping up. One of the ways we're going to make sure that we can thrive into the future has to do with bringing in financial support. And I'm going to invite Janet forward to talk a little bit about development.
Thank you. So Dave asked me to fill in for him today and talk about how we are planning to make sure that we can pay our bills and continue to provide all this top-notch programming and the staffing that we've been on the right road to do. I think we can all agree on the importance of B'nai being here and being strong, because we offer what people are looking for in their lives, both our current community and those who will find us. At the same time, we must be aware of rising costs and what it takes to maintain and grow our community. So for us to provide this, financial support is imperative. We need to be able to pay salaries and benefits and keep our doors open. So here are a few of the opportunities that you'll be hearing from us throughout this next few months, and some you already know about. So first, as we've been talking about, the annual gift of the heart, which was formerly known as dues. So in 2023, as was mentioned, B'nai moved from a model of mandatory dues to one of donor choice. And that was simplified everything into not everything, but our dues structure was simplified into one single gift called the annual gift of the heart. So we do provide suggested guidelines of giving, so you know what it will take minimally for this annual gifts of the heart budget line to make up the needed 60%, as was mentioned, of our total operating budget. So it's critical to make this annual pledge at the beginning of the year. Here we are in June. So we need in the future to try and get our gifts in as early as we can, because we are on a January to December fiscal year. And we want to always ask people to be as generous as possible. So the stark reality is that we have not yet received annual gifts of the heart from about 25% of the households who we think still want to be members. So please double check with the office if you're not sure if something was counted as that or whatever, if you thought it was. And we have board members and others that will be making phone calls. And if you have Chavarot or other interest groups or your social connections at B'nai, you can just remind people in case they didn't know about it. They should check and make sure that they did take care of that. The second thing I'm happy to be able to announce is our annual fundraising event. As a member of the planning committee, I want to first recognize Sally Stitch. I don't know if she's online out there, but Sally Stitch is leading this effort. And now drum roll. Where's the drum roll? You heard it here first. Mark your calendars now. It's taking place on Sunday evening, November 10th. You can take out your phones and write it down. And we're excited to announce that this year we're having some honorees, which we haven't always done, but we're doing it this year. And we're excited to announce we're honoring Hal and Risa Aqua for their many, many years of above and beyond dedication and commitment to B'nai. with which we are all familiar. So there'll be many ways to participate and support this effort. And so some examples are backed by popular demand as a silent auction and a live auction. And if you have some ideas for auction items you wanted to offer, you can speak with Sally. There's sponsorship opportunities you'll be hearing from us more about, one-time donations, Fund a Need that was so successful last year, and many others. So we're really excited about that. We don't want to forget about another critical part of our financial health is our legacy and endowment program. It's critical to the financial health of any organization to have a healthy endowment, and our legacy program is how we ensure B'nai's future for others. Wouldn't it be amazing if every single household in our community were to make a legacy commitment, which would give us a strong base for decades to come? Also, there'll be many other opportunities throughout the year, sponsoring individual programs, hosting an Oneg Shabbat to honor loved ones or for a celebration, and so on. So thank you all for being here. And any questions, write them on your yellow cards.
Thank you, Janet. Well done. All right. So we've done a lot of dwelling and looking back and celebrating the things that
I have it in my
have made
book.
up our last year and beyond.
Don't it?
I want to take a
I have a
minute to
binder.
look forward. And I'm going to use a metaphor which some of you may share a passion for. On my way out of San Francisco, when I was sort of in discernment about changing jobs and all of that, it was deep in COVID, and I was spending a lot of time in my garden. And one of the things that I realized as I was tending to those seeds and nourishing and nurturing little landscapes is that I really think of the community as a garden. And every time I'm in the garden, I find myself learning life lessons that I see playing out in my work. So, so I'm going to take a moment to envision with you the future of this garden of B'nai Havurah. So first of all, what does a garden need to thrive? Tell me, what do we need? Water. Okay. Yeah. What else? Sunlight. What else? Soil. Okay. Those are the first three things. I thought of two. Let's think about what that could be. So when I think about the soil and the foundation, you know, what is the sort of ground on which we stand? I think about the systems and the structures that are going to make it possible for our community garden to grow. So we have a lot going on here, and when I think about what's coming in the year ahead in terms of our soil, I think about our chesed work, our support for members in the community who are sick, who are mourning, and so on and so forth. To me, that's a very basic level of some of the, you know, nourishment that we offer as a community. I think about also all of these new members, you know, all of these new people who are coming into the community, and how we're going to need to create structures and systems to guide them to connect. Some new folks have really easily figured it out, and there's always going to be people who need a little more guidance. And so one of the things that I'd like to set as a goal for the coming year for the fall is to create a more substantial new member welcoming process. And part of that's going to be about introducing people to the committees and the, you know, and the interest groups, and also Havurot. And as you may be aware, we've been in the midst of a couple of very thoughtfully designed by Susan listening sessions. And we've listened to people who've been active in Havurot for long and short amounts of time. We're going to do another listening session in August for folks who are not in Havurot. And my hope is that by the end of 2024, we will be in a position to have learned from all of that and to foster the creation of at least one, maybe two or three new Havarot, and to help members who want to join Havara and Havarot who want to welcome new members to do so gracefully, because there are things that we need to learn from the times it hasn't been graceful. So that's all coming ahead. The other things that I think of when I think of our soil and our structure and systems, I think right now we're about to have some conversations in the staff team about staff structure, about who's doing what, about what happens now that we're saying goodbye to Debbie, and also about communication. We're kind of in communication about how communication works internally, externally. And of course, when we think about the ground, the soil, the structure that holds us, the building is one of those big physical structures. So the renovation that's coming is going to be a big part of that. I want to think now about the sun, the sunshine, the energy that's coming in. And we've talked a lot about it. We've talked about the power that keeps us going. Dan, see this microphone? It drives me. It is getting in and out, and it's not my imagination. All right, I'm going to switch. All right. There we go. Can you hear me? No. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, great. So, so the sunshine, the people power, the volunteerism, I'm excited to see that continue. And what, Janet just mentioned about the financial support of the development piece is critical. All of these growing things actually do need more energy than we had before. And so, we welcome 40 new households. That means we have to take care of those 40 new households, right? We plant seeds, then they grow, and then then there's sprouts, and then there's seedlings, and then you need to actually care for them. And so that takes staff time, that takes my time, that takes resources. So we need to pay attention to that. And just make sure that as we get all excited about growth, that we plan for that in a way that's going to be sustainable financially also. And the other thing that I see as a potential growth direction for us in the coming year that I hope will sprout and grow is a focus on Tikkun Olam. As I mentioned earlier, I think a lot of people in this community really share a passion about Tikkun Olam in all different kinds of levels, whether it's advocacy and political action, whether it's community service, whether it's for different vulnerable populations, whether it's for influencing the election, whatever it may be. I'm hoping that focus on Tikkun Olam is possible between now and November, and certainly after November. I anticipate that it's possible our community will be very consumed with Tikkun Olam. And so that may take some staffing, that may take a fund a need, that may take some listening and organizing of ourselves so that we can be more effective as a community in that way. And so that's the sun, because when I think about the growth direction, I think about how plants move towards their passion, towards the sun, towards what's giving them energy. We also mentioned water, and that to me is about just paying attention to what's already growing and what's already successful, and making sure that we continue to pay attention to those areas and sustain them in a way that is paced well. So I'm thinking about the successes that this community has had recently and in the long term. When a Havara is successful, it can be the most important group that a person is a part of in their lives. And figuring out how to sustain the Havarot to make a more symbiotic relationship between the Havarot and the mothership is really important, really important priority. which we already talked about. I also think about Shabbat and holidays. Our Shabbat services have been growing. You come to a typical Shabbat service these days, there's 30 to 40 people there on a regular basis, whether or not we have some special thing going on or not. And so it's a growing, vibrant center. Our holidays have grown. We now couldn't go back to having Purim and Passover and Hanukkah in this space because we've outgrown it. Hallelujah. So, we need to keep doing the basics, even while we're trying new creative things. Shabbat is going well. Let's keep Shabbat strong. Holidays, that's a big part of what a synagogue's about. So, and learning. The learning circles here are incredible. I'm very proud that most of them are lay-led and self-organized and just going strong and wonderful places where people meet one another. The other piece that nobody said when I asked about like what makes a successful garden is the gardeners. And that's us. That's all of us, right? All of us are tending to this garden, planting seeds, starting interest groups and programs, and watering what is successful with our presence, with volunteer hours, with our thinking and our hearts. And sometimes the worst part of gardening for me is thinning or weeding or pruning. I don't mind, but taking a sprout and saying, sorry, you can't, we have too many sprouts. That is very hard for me. I don't think we need to do that right now, but there may be a time when we do need to do that. And I warn you, I'm terrible at it. So someone else is going to have, Laura, I'm going to ask for your help and say, Rabbi, there's a sprout that needs to be thinned. So the thing about being a gardener, though, is that the best part is you get to taste the fruit, you get to smell the flowers, you get to really relish the beauty of what you are nourishing. And it's not just like it comes from you. This was one of the insights I got as I was leaving my last garden in San Francisco was, God makes the garden grow. It's not like the gardener causes life, right? But you guide it. You figure out where you're going to put the extra fertilizer and the water, and you pick what you're going to plant and when you're going to plant it, and you're an important part of it. So all of us, I think, are invited to be in that mode of just understanding the flourishing of this community and offering our love, offering our time, our appreciation, our attention. And I hope that our garden grows well in the coming year. May it be so. Can you hear Ratzon? All right. So I think it's time for a closing song. And yeah, and then we will release everyone to further schmoozing. And thank you for being patient about holding on to those questions for the future. I know it's hard sometimes to not have a chance to ask them right here and now, but I understand that there's a good plan for getting all of those questions addressed. And let's just take a big breath. And just take a moment to once again bring into your heart some favorite highlight from the past, and at least one kavanah, one intention for something that you would like to see at B'nai Havurah or in our community in the year to come. Something that you're hoping for our future. And I'd love to just make a little popcorn of words and phrases of what your hope is for the year ahead of us. Go for it. Continued growth, especially with the number of young people. Yeah. active engagement. For the construction to not go over budget or schedule. Member orientation, bringing in new people, strengthening Havarot. More opportunities to learn. Great music. May our Shabbat services outgrow this space. I'll just say, may we be blessed. May this beloved community be blessed with what we need to thrive, to support each other, to be the best humans we can be. May our impact in the lives of our members be one of support and love and joy. And may our impact beyond the circle of our community also bring good things to this world. May the things we learn and the healing we do and all of the celebration that we share be a light in our world and make our community and the community beyond a better place. Amen. Hine ma tov manayin, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayin, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. הנה אימתו, שבת אחים גם יחד. יאללה לה, יאללה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה, יאללה לה לה, יאללה לה לה לה. I won't say Shabbat Shalom because it's not Shabbat, but thank you again, everyone, for coming. And please linger and eat cookies and so on and so forth.